Hey Dinah, it's Kelly Conley. I just noticed your response to question 2. Thought it was interesting. It's pretty similar to kind of my thoughts on that question. I also found Stewart's contribution to ethical theory and praxis, pretty compelling. And when I try to relate it to issues of managerial issues, you think of the problem of the other. The other doesn't necessarily mean cross culture. It can also mean people on different levels of the company. You've got subordinates talking to superiors, superiors talking to subordinates. That's kind of what you touched on there at the end, whenever you said that leaders cannot be effective if they're not understood, which works both ways, and I really like that. Um, I also liked, though, in Stewart's essay, when he talks about, he says, and this is from Johnstone, 1981, he says, when we attempt to reason together in order that we might live together productively and happily, we lead each other and ourselves to the edge of the human soul. So that really offered a kind of a romantic perspective of the whole thing. And I like that Stewart threw that in there. And then also he goes on, to talk about that intent and choice are only a small component of the actual result of that communicative interaction. Um, but yes, in chapter 3, Hyde's essay is something that kind of goes along with this. It's interpretation of the ethos as an artistic accomplishment of articulation. And I see that kind of as the foundation of marketing. And the more you understand marketing, the more you realize it's not just in a business sense. It's also between individuals. You market yourself to other people with every word that comes out of your mouth, with every posture that you adopt in conversation. So, and it actually says this in the passage, but all behavior in an interactional situation has message value. That's kind of what we're talking about. But that kind of brought me to be thinking of the best example, and the best example I could really consider is anytime you meet a stranger, whether it's in the workplace, at school, in a bar, at church, whatever you're into. But when it said, when strangers meet, the principal concern is one of uncertainty reduction and increasing predictability about the behavior of themselves and others in the interaction. And that's from Theorizing Communication, Craig and Muller, 2007. And I thought that really coincides well with Fritz Heider, 1958, The Psychology of Interpersonal Relations, who says man seeks to make sense out of events he perceives in his environment. So, in a way, it's a very primitive response, that heightened sensitivity we have whenever we meet strangers to notice that sort of thing. But I think it's very important to stay conscious of very small things with our posture or any type of nonverbal communication, especially when we meet a stranger, whether it's in a managerial or subordinate position. But I enjoyed your response. Thank you very much.